Welcome back to the Burn Stress Lose Weight podcast, where we are doing a whole series on the very normal phases of weight loss. And just as a reminder, if you hear some birds or an airplane or some wind, it's because I am recording this episode outside and I'm celebrating this podcast by celebrating outside and walking and talking to share these phases of normal weight loss and wellness. We are back with part 3, the final part of this 3-part series. The first episode in this entire series was phases 1, 2, and 3. Phase 1 is normal motivation and excitement, which is amazing. I love that phase. We all love that phase. Phase 2 is researching, consuming, and planning, which can sometimes be a sneaky procrastination tactic. Phase 3 is all or nothing thinking, where you sometimes think you have to double down or you need another do-over or a fresh start. You'll stay stuck in phases 1, 2, and 3 for quite a while until you come to work with me, which is when we get into phase 4. Phase 4 is really hard to do on your own. Working with a coach who has literally done this work and understands how to find your strategic gaps is essential. That's what clients do when they come to work with me. We start in phase 4 where we find your strategic gaps, which is usually somewhere in the planning phase, the execution phase, or in the learning phase. And then we have phase 5, when you fill your strategic gaps with a comprehensive strategy. Phase 6 was feeling really uncomfortable. This is the hardest one for all of us because you're human and our human brains don't want to feel uncomfortable. But phase 6 is learning and teaching yourself to feel uncomfortable, growing your capacity and your resilience to feel uncomfortable and not go to snacking and scrolling. Phase 7 is the imperfect moment and not taking your foot off the gas when you make a mistake, when you go off plan. And this week we're getting into 8, 9, and 10. I really hope that you're finding the series helpful because my intention with recording this series was to normalize and validate every single step of the process. Every single step that we here talked about is normal. It's not because you're weak or unique or anything else, except that you have a normal human brain. And these are the normal phases of getting to your goals. I hope that you've been enjoying it. Also, if you are new or you haven't been listening to the series for a while, we are celebrating the 3-year anniversary of this podcast this month, and it is happening with an amazing celebration giveaway with lots of winners. You can get all the details over at burnstressloseweight.com/celebrate. Okay, let's pick up right where we left off, which is phase 8. Phase 8 is transformation. This is where you are healing the most critical parts of yourself, the most judgmental parts of yourself. You start feeling, like I like to describe, you start feeling better on the inside. When you feel better on the inside, it will show up on the outside. The reason that phase 8 is transformation is because it's very much informed by how you show up in phase 7. So phase 7, as a little bit of a recap, was you have an off-plan moment. Your brain just went to some old habits of snacking and scrolling and you overate for any number of reasons. And the scale's up a pound or 2 or 5 or 10. And how you treat yourself in that moment, keeping your foot on the gas and putting in the reps to learn and understand and get back like you haven't ever left off, that is where you're going to have an explosion of results. The reason that this is so transformative is for you to be able to do phase 7, which is to keep your foot on the gas and put the reps in, you have to get coached. And that's where there is so much transformation. You cannot learn this in a textbook or on a webinar or from an email or even from this podcast. You might be inspired by listening to everything I'm sharing, or you might really feel excited when you learn about what I'm sharing with you, but actually getting coached yourself on what your mind is creating, what stories you have about how you have showed up in the past, in how you are handling an obstacle in front of you, in how you're managing something with your kid, your colleague, your time, your responsibilities. When you get coached yourself, your brain actually starts to change. Listen, it is messy getting coached sometimes. I know. As a client, sometimes I want to have everything completely and perfectly together. That's like a little A+ student in me. But coaching is about actually being vulnerable and saying out loud what the problem is. Sometimes I don't even know what the problem is, but just saying words out loud with what I'm struggling with or what I'm feeling or what I'm noticing. If I notice myself snacking or scrolling or being snippy with my kid or my partner, it's like a little siren song that there's something happening in my mind. I'm having certain stories. My brain is creating certain thoughts. That's creating a lot of my entire experience. And getting coached on that is what has absolutely transformed how I feel as a busy professional. There are actual MRI studies, real research articles that talk about the impact of coaching on women's wellness, on your burnout, on career satisfaction, on how you feel. Your amygdala, which is a part of your brain, has decreased distress signals when you get coached. Again, this is one of those things I can only tell you about it. The only way to know it is to experience it, to actually raise your hand and invest in yourself and get coached. And whether or not that's with me or with someone else, really having somebody walk you through a coaching experience where they show you your blind spots and you get to really see the power of the thoughts you're having and learn how to change your thoughts. It has literally changed my entire life. With everything happening in the world, it's really normal to think that maybe coaching is a luxury. But in my experience, coaching has found the best parts of me. It's helped me activate the best parts of my brain, the best quality thinking, the best problem solving. And to me, that's not a luxury, at least not for professional women. This takes me to phase 9, which is identity. What we've been talking about in all these phases of weight loss and wellness and hitting and achieving any goal is it's going to require that you change. That messy middle that we talked about, phases 4, 5, 6, 7, you learn how to feel really uncomfortable and you do what you said you were going to do because you're not going to numb out. That requires a part of you to change. You evolve and grow. And that can be uncomfortable. Letting yourself grow, having your identity evolve a little bit. Maybe the people in your life will come along with you. Maybe some of them will challenge you. But phase 9 is giving yourself permission and a chance to change. And that means on the scale and off. It's really crazy because phase 9 will sometimes bring out success intolerance, where you lose a lot of weight. Maybe you even hit your goal weight, but you start finding small ways of sabotaging your wins. It's like very disconcerting to solve the weight loss problem because maybe you've been struggling with this forever. And if you're not struggling with this, then what are you struggling with? It's so crazy. The thing that we want the most, the wins and the successes that we want the most, can feel deeply uncomfortable to receive. So phase 9 is teaching your brain to allow yourself to be successful, is allowing yourself to receive wins, allow yourself to learn that you can lose the weight and actually hold that win and let yourself grow alongside that win. This leads me to the very last phase, which is phase 10. And phase 10 is really sprinkled throughout this journey, and it's something that I talk with my clients about a lot. But that is teaching yourself to fall in love with the process. That doesn't mean that you have to love every single part of the process all the time. There are going to be really hard moments, right? We have to remember phase 6, the uncomfortable emotions that you're going to have. But taking your brain away from just the number on the scale, just the finish line, and actually loving the journey is a part of sustainability. What I have to say about phases 8, 9, and 10 is once you lose all of the weight that you want to lose, you are still going to experience all the choppy waters and the unplanned moments and the life obstacles the way that you did before you lost all the weight. I shared this with my clients in the Unstoppable group. This was a couple of years ago where I gained back like 5 or 10 pounds. And I recorded a day in the life, behind the scenes, me stepping on the scale, butt naked. And I recorded, it's almost vlog style, on what I told myself, the thoughts that I chose to have on purpose as I navigated that really uncomfortable time. So the reality is, even once you hit your goal weight, once you achieve that amazing success, once you get to that quote unquote finish line, you are going to still have off-plan moments, which is why learning the skills that we talked about, especially in the second episode of the series and this episode, is so essential for a lifetime of success. For me, this entire series, especially the messy middle, the sticky, uncomfortable part, phases 4 through 7, those are the hardest parts. It's such a miserable experience sometimes because we're so used to operating in a certain way, but it is that sticky, messy middle when you learn how to get through it. And I highly recommend that you do that with a coach, that you surround yourself with women that also want to do those things, that you learn from their obstacles. So you're not alone on an island, that you will heal something in you that ever made you criticize and judge your lacking results. And just in doing that, you're going to learn new skills. I love this so much. This is the kind of work that I love sharing with all of you. I hope you've really enjoyed this entire series as much as I have. If you want to take the series and what we're talking about and put it into a real life implementation, it is not too late to grab a spot in the upcoming cohort of the Unstoppable group. We are about to start. So I want to make sure you do not wait another day. Head over to burnstressloseweight.com/group, hit the button, answer a few questions, and I will reach out to you and we can set up a time to talk and decide if it's the right fit for you. I just want to recap all 12 phases. Phase 1 is my favorite phase. Motivation and excitement, activation phase. It feels amazing. Phase 2 is research, sometimes research rabbit holes, planning, sometimes over planning, using it as a procrastination tactic to do the uncomfortable thing. Phase 3 is all or nothing thinking, where you think you have to double down or you need another fresh start the moment real life happens. Phase 4 is identifying strategic gaps. This is what happens when you first come to work with me in the Unstoppable group. We find your specific strategic gaps. Phase 5 is filling your strategic gaps with a nutrition strategy that actually supports your metabolism with guilt-free rest, play, movement, and mindset. Phase 6 is all about feeling really uncomfortable. That moment that you have stress or worry or boredom or overwhelm, you stop using snacking and scrolling to numb out. Phase 7 is being imperfect, keeping your foot on the gas while putting in the reps. Phase 8 is transformation. This happens with coaching, where you start to identify the stories that you have about your life that are creating your actual stress. You will feel so different as a professional mom when you have a coach in your corner. Phase 9 is identity and growth, letting yourself evolve, letting yourself receive success, actually being able to sit with already having hit your goal and letting yourself move on to something else. And phase 10 is actually sitting with what maintenance looks like. Maintenance and phase 10 is accepting that all humans are going to have plot twists and messy moments, but we can really let go of the most critical parts of us so that we can explode results on the scale and off. I really hope that you loved this 3-part series as much as I did. I hope you enjoyed the birds in the background as I walked and talked and shared my experiences with what I have seen be really normal parts of so many professional women in every industry. But if you want to solve this, we want to get you out of phases 1, 2, and 3. Decide that you want to lean in. Lean in to solve this because it matters for you now, that your goals matter for you, your body matters for you, and you getting to activate and access your best self is something you totally deserve. We are hosting the biggest podcast giveaway I have ever had on this channel to celebrate the 3-year anniversary. We're going to have so many winners. It is going to be like bamboozling all of you with some amazing prizes. I would love, love, love for you to help me celebrate this podcast. It was seriously one of my favorite things. Head over to burnstressloseweight.com/celebrate. You'll get all the details for how you can participate. It is going to be so fun. You have just a few more days to be able to partake. We're going to be announcing the winner via email. So you have to be on my email list to find it if you have won. I cannot wait for all of you. So head over to burnstressloseweight.com/celebrate. Drop in your entry. Share these episodes. Share this series with a friend so you can up your chances of winning. And I will see you all next week. Bye.